Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go racing here at Gateway in the Truck Series to start things off, but of course we have the Xfinity Series as well as the Cup Series at Dover. But first of all, of course, the Worldwide Technology Raceway here at Gateway, where we have Erik Jones, of course, in the truck. This is actually a playoff race now in the Truck Series. So it is playoff time here in the Truck Series for Erik Jones, and hopefully in what will be his final playoff run, likely of his career in the Truck Series, he'll be able to come out on top with a championship. So we got underway here in Gateway, where Erik started down here in the 8th position as he went down into turns 1, just looking to really get to that bottom lane as quickly as he could. Of course, that's really the king at a track like Gateway. Now as it comes through out of turns 2, right on the back of the 23 there, as he's going to go to the outside of Brett Moffitt down the back straightaway here as he dives down towards turn 3. So he's going to clear Brett Moffitt into that third turn, and he's going to settle down just in front of him and get right down there towards that curbing here through turns 3 and 4. But Erik not really needing to win or anything at this point to get himself into the next run. He just needs to stay consistent, and he will not have a problem making it into the next round of the playoffs. But of course, he would get on the attack now as he got to the inside of Ross Chastain as this race went on, and got up the inside of Chastain for another position now as he was trying to fight his way up towards the top 5 spot at this point now as it came through side by side with Ross Chastain down the back straightaway in that number 40 truck here. As you see right now, Johnny Sauter was actually out front here in the race trying to win his way into the next round of the playoffs, as now Jones still side by side with Chastain, and unfortunately he would not be able to clear Chastain. Chastain would be able to hang on out of the corner, so he would have to wait for another opportunity now as Chastain would put the attack now on Austin Hill. So Erik follows through on the inside here through turns 1 and out of turns 2, but he's pushing up the track and actually contact there with Austin Hill as they exit turns 2, and now Erik is actually going to be able to prevail and take the position away from Austin Hill. So a little bit of contact made, and unfortunately, Erik battling some handling issues out of turns 2 a little bit later on. He got very loose out of 2 and actually left the door wide open for Austin Hill to slip up the inside, and sure enough, Hill pounces on the opportunity and now moves up into the position there in front of Erik now as it came through a little bit later again. Now actually closing in on the final laps of this race here in Gateways. He went down into turns 3 just behind Ross Chastain. Once again, up the inside of Austin Hill as they come through out of turns 4. Contact again between Jones and Hill there. The same situation as last time as they come through to start the final lap in Gateway now as they go down this front stretch towards turns 1. So now Jones clears Hill, being a little bit aggressive. Erik Jones was. He was not really doing that on purpose. He was just getting tight out of the corners, and unfortunately, Austin Hill was the victim both times now as he comes through down the back straightaway for the final time here in Gateway as he goes. You see Johnny Sauter actually going to easily win this race as it goes into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in Gateway now as he tries to close in on Chastain, but it's not going to be enough as he slips and slides out of 4 close to that wall there, but he comes through to cross the line just a little bit short there behind Ross Chastain. So a solid finish though here in Gateway. Cannot really complain about a top 5 at all to start the playoffs with Erik Jones here in the Truck Series. So, of course, this will, of course, also give us a very good points buffer, hopefully, on the playoff grid, which you're about to see very briefly here before we get into the Xfinity Series now, as Erik is 8 points above the cut line going into the next race of the playoffs. So, definitely a solid situation to be in now as we come through into the Xfinity Series weekend here with Brandon Brown actually picked up the victory, but Erik was actually in the car once again. I did not show the race like I usually. I don't usually show the Xfinity Series races, but of course I will show some more before the season is over, and likely at the next one in Daytona, which will be the regular season finale. And for the regular season finale in the next episode, I might have a live points little graphic come up during the races as well to keep an eye on what's going on. But now it is time to go into the Cup Series race here, fresh off of Jimmy Johnson returning to victory lane in the Cup Series last episode at Watkins Glen. Now he has had 2 poles in a row. He's got to win. I have upped some of the driver ratings, so that's is why you're seeing a bit of an increase in performance from a driver like Jimmy Johnson as we come through on our qualifying attempt. The goal was a 23.324 second lap. So we come through out of turn 2, got through there pretty well. The car was feeling a little bit too loose for my likings here. I definitely freed it up too much on the presets. Through turns 3 and 4 though we go now as we come through once again just a little bit too loose, and you see it right there out of turns 4 how loose I got as we come through down the front straightaway, crossing the line. A 23.342 is what we get with P11 here in Dover. So not the worst qualifying effort, but definitely a little bit more work to do here now as you see on the pole again for the 3rd race in a row is Jimmy Johnson, and that surprises me because when I increased his driver rating, I didn't really put him up with the top guys. He's probably about a 10th to 15th place rating, and he's now qualified on pole 3 times. So I actually might have to nerf him a little bit going into the playoffs now, as it clearly seems like he has a lot of speed. But Eric Jones qualifies in that last spot as we come through into Dover. There you see the playoff standings on your screen. Jimmie Johnson now locked in with that win in the last episode. But Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, there are all locked in on points. And now 13th really through 19th is where it gets interesting. Ryan Newman is in need of a good race today, and he should be able to comfortably get into the playoffs. But Matt Kenseth really for sure down to Clint Bowyer is all up for grabs now as we get ready to go green here in Dover. We actually had a weather delay here in Dover. We had some lightning in the area there, as you saw a little flash right there, so it would be a few hours, but we would get going. The skies would clear up eventually, and we would get ready to go green here at Dover International Speedway now. So very excited to get this race going. Last time we came to this track, it did not go well at all, so hopefully we can do better today.
Jimmie Johnson comes into one of his best career tracks. Fresh off his first victory of the season, Johnson says he's confident that the team has found some serious speed for late in the season run.
Alright boys, let's go get us one today. We had really good speed last week in Watkins Glen. Hopefully we can continue that into this race. Alright, there you heard the pit reporter Eddie, and as well as the radio transmission from myself. Kurt Busch sent to the back after an unapproved body modification during qualifying. But Jimmie Johnson, 3 poles in a row. Very surprising even to see, because like I said, his rating is not even in the top 10. So I'm very surprised to see him doing that good now, as the green flag though is out, and we are underway for the second to final race of the regular season here in the Cup Series now. So obviously, whoever wins today, probably not going to be a driver outside of the playoffs, so it should not shake up anything. But next time out at Daytona is really where we're going to have to watch out for anything to happen now, as that could be a crazy one. I did actually forget to turn the cautions back down to strict, so they're actually on relaxed for this episode, so that could certainly spice things up now. As I'm actually going to leave them on relaxed at Daytona because I feel like that will create a greater potential for maybe a big one at that track and really get things crazy now as we come through down into turns 1 here on the second lap. Jimmie Johnson leads opening lap now as we pass Joey Logano, move back up here into P11 as we get up the inside of our teammate of Kyle Busch as we dive down towards turns 3, and now briefly up into the top 10 we go as we go up the inside of Matt Kenseth. And Matt Kenseth over the last 5 races or so has just continued to fall off a cliff, and he's really been struggling now, as he was well inside the playoffs earlier, and now he's actually at risk to miss the playoffs here in what will be his final season in the NASCAR Cup Series before being replaced by Ross Chastain in the Cup Series in the next season of our career mode. Of course, some more silly season announcements on the way. Now we know Eric Jones will not be in that 73 car next season. He will be going elsewhere. Now he's actually slip up the track through turns 3 and out of turns 4. We lose a spot to Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano goes by, and now Kyle Busch as well is going to go by on the inside here, as now we drop back down to that 11th position here in Dover. So trying to rally back from that little position loss here, as the car was definitely feeling very loose to say the least. Now is Kevin Harvick. He had started to fade down the order a little bit. To our surprise, Harvick still has not won this season. He is easily in on points. He's locked in on points already to get into the playoffs. Now as Chase Elliott would pass me out of turns 4 just after I passed Kevin Harvick. So Elliott, he was moving his way through the field very quickly. Pretty evident that he had a lot of speed, and then we would kind of get caught up behind Alex Bowman and Kyle Busch, who were battling side by side now as we came through out of turns 4, coming to lap 11 of 18 here in this first and opening stage. Now back up the inside though of Kyle Busch as we dive down into turns 1. So definitely feeling like compared to the first time we came to this track, we have more long run speed now as we're 3 wide with Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman as we go down the back straightaway, still 3 wide here, as myself and Kyle don't really want to back out now, as Bowman, he clears both of us into the corner. So now it's a side-by-side scrap with our teammate of Kyle Busch and 2-time Cup Series champion now as we come through. Kyle Busch, the most recent Cup Series champion, trying to go back-to-back this season, and right now he has the most wins on the grid this season, so he's definitely keeping up a good fight for his case to maybe go and get a 3rd championship. Now as Tyler Reddick got up my inside, made a little bit of contact with me there through 3 and 4. He passes us, and now Ryan Blaney with 6 laps to go in stage 1 is going to come through as well to make a pass here and move up into P12, as Jimmie Johnson still leads away at this point now as we come through out of turn 2. We get back up the inside of Ryan Blaney here as we dive down towards turns 3, and we're going to take that position back from him. You heard Eddie in the pre-race say on the pit lane that Johnson, of course, comes into what is arguably his best track of his career, now looking to just continue that momentum from Watkins Glen. Glenn, and he's clearly doing that today now as we come through out of turn 2. Now once again trying to pass Kyle Busch, and sure enough, we would complete the pass eventually here with 4 laps to go on the stage. We just sent it into turns 1, and we were able to pull off the move and clear Kyle Busch and get up the inside now of Alex Bowman, and now we're up inside the top 10 if we can complete the pass on the Hendrick Motorsports driver, who is also locked in now on points. Alex Bowman is now, as he does not have to worry anymore now, as he still would love to get that victory, of course, as we would close in though on the back of Tyler Reddick with 3 to go on the stage, coming to 2 to go on the stage now as we dive down into turns 3 up his inside, trying to take over now the 9th position, but he pins us down. Every time the driver pins me down like that, I cannot complete a pass on the bottom, and unfortunately, of course, that happened again now as came through, coming to the white flag now in stage 1. We dive back up the inside of Tyler Reddick, who's now in a must-win situation if he wants to make the playoffs now as we come through turns 1 and 2, side by side with Reddick as we exit turns 2. Jimmy Johnson breezing his way to a stage 1 victory as we're still side by side as we go down into turns 3. Ryan Blaney ready to pound straight behind us as well, as he's kind of fallen off as the season has gone on as we come through out of turns 4, side by side with Reddick coming to the line, but we're going to get him for that 9th spot, just barely at the line there. So Reddick P10, Blaney down there in P11. Jimmy Johnson with a stage victory. So Johnson won stage 1, 2, and 3 at Watkins Glen, and he opens up Dover with another stage victory now as he is on fire all of a sudden now as we get ready for stage 2, as we of course would come to the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires. I would not get used to the Jimmy Johnson dominance. I would just say that now. I think it's really just based off of what I've seen, just kind of luck, because he is definitely not P1 driver right now based off the custom rating I gave him. He definitely should be contending, but not to this level now, as we would actually gain a few spots on the pit lane, and we are now up to P7 for the start of the second stage. You notice Chase Elliott up there in P3. He is all of a sudden up in the mix. You see William Byron even up there in P4. Ryan Newman joins Jimmy Johnson on the front row. Great stage 1 for the Roush Fenway driver, who is comfortably as well up in that playoff picture as we come through out of turns 2 side by side with Truex, but he's able to clear me as I did not get a great exit out of turns 2 now as we dive down into turns 3, trying to get back up the inside of our Joe Gibbs Racing teammate as we come through out of turns 4. Not quite able to make it work yet, but we do fight back towards the left-hand side of Martin Truex Jr. as we dive down into turns 1. Chase Elliott now moves up into that 2nd position behind the 7-time champion of Jimmy Johnson, who will now have a chance to fight for his 8th championship and his final season now of his career as we dive down into turns 3. Still side by side here with Martin Truex Jr., but I felt like he was going to clear me right here maybe as we come through out of turns 4. We slip there on the exit. That allows Truex to get clear, and that also allows Ryan Blaney to get up the inside of me as we dive down into turns 1. So now I'm seeing a whole train of cars. Blaney passes me. Well, now here comes Alex Bowman out of turns 2, but thankfully we actually have enough momentum to clear him and send it up the inside of the Penske driver of Ryan Blaney, but I make a mistake there into the entrance of the corner. I clip the apron, and now that opens the door again for Bowman, and now he's going to breeze right on by me, and then Keselowski's going to come through as well to pass me, so we have to settle back in. We only dropped down though to the 10th position. Blaney ended up losing the positions to Keselowski and Bowman. I fight up the inside now of Blaney at this point here, coming to lap 6 of the stage. And one thing that was different this time around in stage 2, Jimmy Johnson was not nearly as fast as he was in that first stage, where William Byron was putting a whole lot of pressure on him at this point as we came through out of turns 2, clearing Ryan Blaney. Then we get to the back of Alex Bowman, and of course now we have actually a crash there down the back straightaway. Matt DiBenedetto has gone crashing into the inside wall, and the green flag is actually going to stay out to my surprise. And of course we were coming around to this incident here now as I was trying to make a move up on the inside of Alex Bowman into turns 1 and turns 2. You see on the track map Bowman still on my outside, but on the track map Matt DiBenedetto there just getting going now as Jimmy Johnson, the leader, approaches him. You see the smoke from his car now as everybody slows up. That allowed me to clear Bowman into 3, but I move up to the high side there like everybody else, and that actually allows Bowman to just drive by me on the inside, and then Blaney puts on the pressure. He's now able to make a move, but we get back up the inside now of Alex Bowman into turns 1, and now we're going to try and fight back for that 8th position, and sure enough on lap 9 in turns 3 we would clear Alex Bowman and hold on to P8. Jimmy Johnson was still under a good amount of pressure from his Hendrick Motorsports teammate of William Byron, who actually got into a bit of a battle with Ryan Newman though for that 2nd position, which would allow Jimmy to kind of drive away just a little bit here in the 2nd stage. But we come through turns 1 and 2 now on lap 13. Logano getting to the back of me, but the caution comes out here in Dover, and now we're set up for a restart. Ryan Newman coming to the pit lane. He was not the reason for a caution, so I was a little bit surprised. And then Clint Boyer actually coming in, as well as Kurt Busch and Quinn Hoff, as well as a few other drivers like Ross Chastain, David Reagan, as well as Timmy Hill, but Timmy Hill is a lap down. So I was a little bit surprised to see this, as I saw everybody else staying out. Of course, I just kind of did what everybody else did here, and stayed out, of course, except for a select few drivers, 3 or 4 drivers that are kind of on the lead lap that will come to the pit lane, like Kurt Busch, as well as Ryan Newman. Now, as the green flag is back out, that now puts William Byron on the front row now, as Ryan Newman did come to that pit lane. So he'll be starting at the back here, giving up potential stage points when he may be very well in need of as many stage points as he can get at this point in the season now, as we come through side by side with Truex that clipped the apron there in turns 2. We slipped there on the exit of the corner, and that allows Truex to get clear of us here as we go down the backstretch towards turns 3. Logano and Reddick side by side. Just behind us is Keselowski, moves into second place just past William Byron as we exit turns 4. Chase Elliott as well, trying to move up into P3 past his Hendrick teammate of Byron now, as he would do that as Byron, he started to fade as this run went on. We were now up in the mix with Truex and Hamlin, but you see Chase Elliott was now making a move to pass Jimmy Johnson here in stage 2 for the lead, as we nearly take out our teammate Denny Hamlin. That would not have been good now as we come through out of turns 4. Byron down there in P3. Now it was Logano. He was right on the back of me. I actually play it pretty easy with Logano. I said, okay, you can just go by. He was pretty evidently faster than me right here, so I didn't fight him too hard. Now as Chase Elliott continues to battle with Jimmy Johnson for that front spot, but he would solidify himself in P1 over Jimmy Johnson. Now is Logano pretty clearly moving forwards there as I clipped the wall on the exit of turns 4 now with 13 laps to go, but we get back up the inside of Denny Hamlin and get into quite the scrap with him, and now as we come through turns 3 and 4. But we also had a green flag pit stop that we were going to have to make if we did not get a caution. And sure enough, you see the field light does come on now with 11 laps to go in the stage. So I decided, okay, we're going to come into the pit lane this lap. So we go down the back straightaway towards turn 3. Everybody pretty much coming into the pit lane here. Now as you see Hamlin, Truex, Elliott up there, Keselowski, Joey Logano were side by side with Hamlin. Coming into the pit lane, there's contact. He crowds us over to the barrels. We're into the water barrels here as there's other cars collected. The 8 of Tyler Reddick, the 12, there's a huge stack of cars. We have damage on the front, damage on the back now, as that did not impact our performance, surprisingly, but we come into the pit lane to fix that. But what a development here as we're into the water barrels for the first time, I think, in my NASCAR heat career in total. Now as me and Hamlin just kind of came together, and unfortunately I had no control and we drove into the barrels, so we are going to lose some time to that. You see Hamlin and them, they're already gone, so we definitely lost a good chunk of time because of that, but very fortunately did not end our race or anything, so we're still in this thing. But now I realize that Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, all those drivers that pitted under the last caution have just completely outsmarted the field. They are not actually going to have to pit for the second stage. So all of a sudden, I'm realizing that pretty much everybody is going to get trapped a lap down there. As you see Arrow Jones in his new ride there in the number 73 Sports Clips Toyota Camry as we dive down into turn 3. He will not be in that car next year. That car might look quite a bit different next year, or next season in the career mode. You'll get a silly season announcement on that pretty soon, actually, now as it came through. Only 4 laps ago at this point, actually, in the second stage now, as we were 2 laps down here because of course, the pit stop scenario. Now as there's contact with Boyer, there's smoke up ahead as we dive down towards turn 3. Someone having issues. It's Chad Fincham and the 49 diving off to the apron into the pit lane. He had blown an engine, and my goodness, this race has been getting hectic now as we come through turns 3 and 4. This is now on the final lap of the second stage. Ryan Newman is going to win stage 2, so it actually works out perfectly. I was saying earlier, okay, why would he pit when he's going to give up all these stage points? Well, he's actually going to get a massive gain out of it with a stage victory now as we come through out of turns 4. Coming to the line here in stage 2, we crossed the line for P15. So that was certainly something that is not going to help us going into the third and final stage. Well, guys, I'm pretty sure we just got screwed over. There you heard the radio transmission from myself. There were still drivers actually coming around in the top 10 to actually finish here in stage 2. But the way I looked at it, when I realized I left relaxed cautions on by accident, I knew the chances of getting a caution weren't very high, so I decided we kind of maybe should take a risk here. Everybody coming to the pit lane, including the leaders like Ryan Newman and whatnot, I decided, you know what? We're going to take the wave around here. We're going to stay out and bank on a potential caution. We're going to need a lot of luck to get that caution, but I'm very hopeful that it will come. So we're gonna stay out here and just see what happens. You see everybody here just like a lap down, 2 laps down. There's not many cars on the lead lap, so we're gonna need a lot of luck. Jimmy Johnson actually will get the lucky dog here. So that's going to be very good for him. We know he has speed, and honestly, Chase Elliott trapped a few laps down. I think this is now all of a sudden plays into Jimmie Johnson's hands perfectly to win this race if we can get another caution. Now, as the green flag is back out, if it does stay green, we do have another green flag pit stop on the way now, as we are underway for stage 3 here. Now 40 laps to go. Quite a lengthy final stage as we dive down towards turns 1. They're already going 3 wide back here, as it's always a complete disaster at this part of the field. There you see Matt DiBenedetto, who's had a heartbreaking end to this regular season. DiBenedetto's just had so many issues, tire issues, engine issues, and it has continued, of course, on into today, as now Jimmie Johnson going 3 wide up the inside there. He's making moves pretty quickly now as we come through out of turns 4, right there on the back of the 51 of Joey Gase as we go down the front stretch into turns 1. So just trying to, of course, kind of maybe try and do the little follow Jimmie Johnson kind of strategy here and see if we can make our way towards the front with him. But of course, we're going to have to rely on a caution, both myself and Johnson. If we get a caution, we get the lucky dog, and then Jimmie Johnson gets to go up towards the front of the pack. Of course, though, if we get the lucky dog, we'll be actually sent to the back of the pack, and then we'll kind of maybe need another caution. Now, as we come through there, Johnson going 3 wide in front of us. We're starting to get a little bit disconnected from Jimmie at this point, as he is maneuvering his way through the traffic a lot better than I am now as we come through turns 4. But I get to the inside of Timmy Hill finally and just try to move my way forwards. Clint Boyer now out in front at this point. He is in a very interesting position. He doesn't need to win to get in the playoffs, but it would certainly help him as he's given away 2 wins this season. But Ryan Newman has taken the lead away from Clint Boyer as we dive down into turn 3 after passing Dylan. And Stenos there's we slam into the back of the 17 of Buescher. Now as Blaney has issues now. It looks like he might have even spun out. He clearly has tire issues. We have damage now on the front of the car, running still in P9 as we dive down into turns 1. No caution comes out, which surprised me a lot as he clearly crashed. Suarez going to go by, but all of a sudden we picked up this damage on the front end. I had no time to react, but the caution does come out, and just like that, taking the wave around plays into our favor perfectly now, as we are going to be in the lucky dog position. What a wild race this is turning into ever since that second stage got going now, as we are going to get ready to come into the pit lane, put 2 cans of fuel in it, 4 tires, 3 seconds of repairs, so obviously not that bad, but we're now on the lead lap, so the wave round worked out perfectly here in our favor as we get ready to go green here for what could be the final restart of the race now with less than 30 laps to go. Now you see Christopher Bell down here in P32, not what he needs at all, in a position where he needs a lot of points to make it into the playoffs here, as we got Ryan Blaney back here as well. Blaney, he's gotten a few wins this season, so he's obviously locked into the playoffs, but like I said earlier, he's kind of fallen off as this regular season has gone on. He started the season on fire with, I think he's got 3 wins if I'm not mistaken, and those all came within, the first 10 races if I'm not mistaken as well. So he's, like I said, he's definitely fallen off as the season has gone on, unfortunately, but of course, plenty of time to turn it around for the playoffs now as we go down this front straightaway, getting as aggressive as I can to gain as much ground as I can. But what surprised me was the leaders did not come into the pit lane under that caution. So I'm seeing we got 25 laps to go. I'm wondering if we can actually maybe potentially make it on feel and actually win this race, because we're not going to run these guys down working our way through this traffic, but the AI have to pit again. All the drivers in front of us for the actual position all have to come into the pit lane at least one more time, and we worked our way all the way up into P5 passing Ross Chastain. There was quite a bit of slower cars in the lead lap position now as we dive down into turn 3 up the inside of Eric Almirola. But I had realized, though, as this was going on, that we're actually in position to potentially win this race now. As I was amazed that the drivers up front did not come to the pit lane under that last caution. I can't believe they didn't pit, guys. I think we're in the best seat in the house right now. There you heard a quick radio transmission from myself. Very confident I was at this point. I'm thinking, okay, this is really our race to win now. But Jimmie Johnson, he would take the lead from Ryan Newman. Like I said, Johnson really had no competition. The drivers that were faster than him, well, Chase Elliott, William Byron's giving him competition. They're all laps down now at this point now as we come through out of turns 4, putting pressure on third place now of Clint Boyer. So we run Boyer down as we dive down towards turns 1. We also, of course, have fresher tires in these guys, so it's definitely going to work out in our favor as we're side by side with the Stuart Haas Racing driver, who's in a position to get a good chunk of points and maybe be inside the playoffs at the end of this episode here as we dive down into turns 3. We clear him for third place now, as now the drivers were starting to get ready to come into the pit lane here as we come through, approaching now close to 10 laps to go. In Dover, there goes Logano, Elliott, Byron, Jimmie Johnson, the leader, into the pit lane. I'm in a great position at this point, knowing that now Newman is going to come to the pit lane as well, and we're going to put these guys like 2 laps down. So if a caution comes out, even better now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2 side by side with Custer. Couldn't quite complete the pass there, and I knew he was probably going to pit right here, so I just let him go and then get to the outside as we dive down into turns 3. And there you see Newman in the pit lane, and now we come through and we are leading here in Dover, approaching the final 10 laps in this race. I could not believe what had just developed here. This race has been wild. DiBenedetto with that crash earlier. We went into the water barrels, Ryan Blaney situation, and now here we are leading in Dover with less than 10 laps to go. We hit 9 laps to go now as we dive down into turns 1. So Jimmy Johnson actually only 1 lap down because he did not need to take any tires or anything. They just, I think, took feel, so they did not go or lose as much time now as we come through on lap 93. I'm realizing, though, at this point, we have a development going on. The field situation is not looking great. 6 laps of fuel was 7 laps to go. That's a bit of a problem, so I realized we might actually be in trouble. So now 5 laps of fuel actually, as we were approaching just now 6 laps ago. So immediately I'm realizing we're actually about 2 laps short. So we got to save as much fuel as we can all of a sudden here within the final handful of laps. So of course I back out of the throttle right away, knowing that, I mean, we have nothing to lose. I mean, we've got to win. We're locked in the playoffs. If we come into the pit lane, we lose this race. So of course it's pretty much a lose-lose here if we run out of fuel versus pitting. So of course I'm saving as much fuel as I can, hoping that we make it now as Reddick goes past as we dive down now on lap 97. 2 laps of fuel as we approach 3 laps to go here in Dover. So of course I'm saving as much as I can as we exit turn 4. The fuel lights come on, but we've saved almost a whole lap of fuel, so I'm still confident there's a chance now as we come through out of turn 2. There's problems there for Justin Haley, who's gone crashing, but the caution does not come out. That would have saved our race. We would have been handed a victory if the caution came out, but now we're running out of fuel through turns 3 and 4, approaching the final lap here in Dover. I'm running out of fuel, guys. There you hear the urgency in my voice as we start the final lap here in Dover, but we pull off the track because we're out of fuel. We just have to limp it home at this point now as the race is on. Now Jimmy Johnson comes through turns 1. He's going to unlap himself, but you see how slow they're going because the AI get really weird when I'm on the apron like that. But unfortunately here on the back straightaway, I realize our hope is gone. Jimmy Johnson down the back straightaway is going to come through after winning in Watkins Glen. He's going to pass me at like 100 miles an hour, if even, for the lead here, as now he comes through out of turns 4. Jimmy Johnson ends up winning the 2nd race in a row at Dover here in the career mode now, as he is now 2-time winner on the season, and we limp our way home to a P6 finish now at 20 miles per hour as we cross the line in what was the craziest race so far this season, and I cannot believe what just happened. I mean, we were in position to win the race, and I didn't save enough fuel. We needed about another lap of fuel and we would have won. Or if I would have ran out of fuel half a lap, maybe even a quarter of a lap later, we could have won that race still. So very disappointed to lose it like that. But of course we handed Jimmy Johnson the victory. So I guess there was one positive. Jimmy Johnson got the win out of it. Unfortunately, Matt O'Brien was not able to do a post-race interview, so I'm going to try and see if we can get some other people maybe involved with that. But we still have the after stuff here, as I'm just going to talk about the finish. Honestly, just disappointed because, you know, what a race it was, of course. You see here as we got into the water barrels. But what an up and down race. We hit the water barrels. We came through all of a sudden in a position to win the race. A bunch of drivers went a lap down. Everything was just so crazy. It was hard to keep up with everything going on. And all of a sudden we were in a position to win. And I just needed to save more fuel, and unfortunately, I did save fuel. I just did not save enough fuel, so that was very unfortunate. But there you see, after the race, we actually get a special invite from Hendrick Motorsports. We have confirmed, though, that we are returning to the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing next season. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. In the next episode, we will decide the playoff grid and what I think could very well be a wild Daytona regular season finale. Who knows what's going to happen there? I'm very excited to record that one. There, as you see, the grid here for the Xfinity Series on your screen now, as obviously the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing that we sometimes drive is inside right now. We won't be driving in the playoffs, but there you see the grid now after Dover for the Cup Series. So Jimmy Johnson goes ahead of me with 2 wins now. Matt Kenseth, 6 points out. He is now outside the playoffs after being in all season. Almirola, 13 points out. He's out now. Christopher Bell, 20 points out. That's where it's going to get interesting between Byron all the way down to Bell. So it's going to be interesting, and I'll see you guys out in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.